This is ChangeMakers with Katie Gore, finding the right solutions for the affordable housing community.
This week's Changemaker is Bejoy Narayana, the CEO, Chief Product Architect, and founder of Bob.ai, where they leverage AI to automate cumbersome processes, share information, and improve outcomes for low-income families seeking affordable housing. With his unique background in technology and business transformation, Bejoy leads the product vision focused on building long-term solutions for the affordable housing ecosystem. Bejoy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Katie.
We have several things I want to talk about, but what inspired you to start what is now known as Bob.ai?
I was working for IBM. I worked in technology all my professional career. And then I started a company that was doing professional consulting services, basically implementing Watson AI services for any company. We had no industry focus. Then I was sending out emails to everybody in Dallas trying to drum up business, like all the CEOs, decision makers of companies in Dallas. By happenstance, I sent it to the Dallas Housing Authority CEO too. Then we also contacted him through a mutual contact who knew both of us. So we had a lunch meeting, and then he explained the problems that the housing authority was facing. It so happened that the one particular problem about inspections that they were facing at the time, initial inspections were getting delayed by about 6 weeks. That meant that the landlords had to hold the apartment for 6 weeks, and they were losing rent. And there was, I think, some newspapers that had done about it and all that. So he was really interested in getting it fixed. And then that is an area that I had previous experience, optimizing work orders. And so I understood the problem fairly quickly. And then they gave us a small contract to work on it. And then we worked on it and we fixed it in about 4 weeks. So that was very well received. Dallas Observer, I think, wrote about it. American Inno wrote about it. So we got into the industry. I didn't know much about housing authorities or the software that housing authorities were using or anything. I assumed that we would make an inspection product, and then there would be APIs to connect to all the existing softwares, and we could sell it and things like that. None of that turned out to be true. So it was a misunderstanding that got us in. Then one thing led to another, and then I realized that there is a very large gap in software. Like, hey, this is one of those places where there isn't really internet software that customers are using, post-internet kind of software. So everything was done on paper. And essentially, that was how it was working. Clients and landlords were not using anything. I realized that we could create something big in the sense there is a marketplace that can be created, like if we can pool all the landlords in the country and all the applicants' clients. So the opportunity was really big, but also it was difficult to do. So that's why nobody has done it. And then we started building RFTA and have contracts and all that after that. And then one thing led to another, relocations. Right now we have a complete ERP package, like everything. If you have the process, then we have software to support it and that sort of thing. So it was not a thought out, hey, I want to work on this industry kind of thing. So it was more opportunistic. We got an opportunity, turned out to be good, and then we developed some expertise in the industry and then stayed.
It sounds like you're trying to hit some of those common pain points in the affordable housing industry, and Bob.ai is helping address those. You mentioned, requests for tenancy approvals. You mentioned HAP contracts and inspections. Are you starting to see some of those processing times, or what are the efficiency gains that you're seeing?
Katie, we came to like I told you, right? I started the company trying to take AI services to the market, a general purpose AI consulting company. So this was 2017. So AI was not prime time, but Watson was a big thing in IBM. So I was very well versed in what Watson could do and from a business sense and so on. So that was the essential idea. We would bring AI services to the market. But we couldn't build just AI services and integrate it to the existing applications of housing authorities because they don't have APIs. None of them have any application programming interfaces that we can just use. So in the 5 years that we have been in, so we built both software and autonomous AI agents for doing the work. So the efficiency gains are twofold, right? One is that you have software to do, switching from paper to software. On top of it, we have autonomous AI agents. For example, when an RFT is submitted, it goes through 38 steps, like, oh, does a voucher exist? And, is this W-9 really the W-9 of the owner? If it's a property manager, does he have a management agreement? Things like that. All of that can be done by AI. So 2023 happened to be the breakout year for AI. So all of that can be done by AI, which basically means when you're submitting the RFTA, it's approved in real time.
Wow. And in such competitive markets where people need to move quickly to keep their unit, this is a huge differential moment for these housing authorities. What type of automation for non-tech people, explain the type of automation that's happening to provide some of these efficient workflows. So what is the actual person doing to be able to process that request for tenancy approval in the same day or in live real time?
Whatever I'm explaining would apply to applications, recertifications, relocations, etc. But let's stay on the RFT example. It's a good one. So when a person is going to a website, and then that is a housing provider, a landlord, an owner, a property manager. So he goes to the website and he creates an account, and then he's filling in a form, essentially giving the details of his unit. How many bedrooms, what is the structure type, what is the utilities, and what are the amenities, and so on. So that's all required by the PHA. And then we do an affordability check in real time. We are basically doing the 30-40 rule. Oh, if this is a voucher holder and this is their income and this is the rent and utilities. So are they going to be able to afford it? Will they end up paying more than 40% of their income towards rent and utilities? That's a question there. So that's done in real time. And the reasonableness check is also done in real time. So if the landlord is asking for, let's say, $3,000, we come back and say that, no, the maximum rent that can be contracted is $2,700. So that is taken care of in real time. That's not AI, that's just classical software. And then comes the AI piece. That is, the landlord is required to attach several documents. That's just the process of it. HUD wants to ensure that the person who is signing the contract is actually the owner of this unit. So ownership documents, W-9, and if it's a property manager, the management agreement, and so on. All of that is read by AI, just like a case manager would read it. It's essentially saying, oh, this is a management agreement, 10 pages. Does it actually allow the owner to rent it? And can he rent this specific property? These are the questions that a case manager is trying to do. And we train AI exactly the same way. And then it documents all its results. Oh, I can accept this management agreement for these reasons, because this property manager is allowed to collect rent and contract it, and so on. So it summarizes the management agreement, writes everything down. Like the perfect case manager, you could say the top 1%. Then the RFTA can be approved in real time.
How does your platform connect and share information with the different stakeholders, the landlords or the applicants, or even people existing on the program? Is there through a portal, or how is that connection happening?
So it's just one app, one product that everybody is seeing, that the landlord is logging in and creating this application. And then he's inviting the client to sign because the client signature is needed. And they're logging into the same website. Very similar to Airbnb, like you are trying to rent a unit, the renter and the homeowner are both logging into the same application. The portal is an old, you need a portal if you need to separate the application from the internet, something. But we have one application for everything. Everybody logs in with the same ID, and then they can, for the housing provider, they can transact with any PHA on our network.
Wow.
So they create one account and they can transact with anyone. And the same thing with the applicant. They create one account and they can apply. And most importantly, the clients and applicants can apply to about 34,000 properties.
Wow, that's a lot. That's very efficient.
Like the college applications, that's one way people understand it easily. You create the application once and then you can send it to any property.
So when you first got started, did you do a test group, or did you go full live? You mentioned the Dallas Housing Authority. How did you start with your implementation there?
Well, without Dallas Housing Authority, there was also our home housing authority. This would not have happened. The whole thing, we would not have even gotten into it, or we would not have been. So they had real business needs. We were solving those business needs without really thinking about, hey, what are we going to do? What is the product's roadmap or anything like that? And as I told you, or at least I made the mistake, and I thought, okay, I would just make these services and then I would connect it to whatever application they're using. What is the big deal? That's how I was trained, and that's how I thought about it. But that didn't work. So we couldn't connect. So then we ended up building the next one. And then that created the roadmap for us. So we cannot really claim credit for any of that. It was mostly happenstance and.
So what does success look like for Bob.ai over the next 3 to 5 years in terms of impact to your users?
If an applicant can come in and apply, and then apply to a large number of assistance providers, multiple PhDs using the same application form, and if they can be kept up to date, okay, this is your position in the wait list, and that the stress and strain of that process removed, like when the Common College application came into being, the same exact thing. It was nothing. We can't really even say that it's very innovative. It's at least 20 years late. So doing that, and then and most importantly, while they're waiting, and when they get the voucher, they can apply to a very large number. And if that pool is actually exhaustive, like it's every affordable property manager who would accept a voucher in the city, that would be great. Every light tech unit, every PV unit, everyone who would accept it, that would be amazing, because then they can create one application and send it to multiple places. And if the property managers can easily understand what is their share of the rent and what is the risk, and they can appreciate the value of a voucher holder in terms of being a long-term renter, no rent collection risk, and things like that, that would be success for us. If you are asking 3 years, that would be success. If you are asking 10 years, if there is more people can move to homeownership, build their credit, and that sort of thing, that would be amazing success for us.
What future capabilities do you envision for making this platform available at such a larger scale? You mentioned 34,000 units. What other capabilities do you think you're going to, where you're going to launch, or how you're going to access some of this market?
We came to the market. I was working with IBM, and I only started the company because I knew that AI was going to be the key differentiator. This is how I thought about it. Hey, when the .com started, that was a point of departure, right? Everything changed at that point. And at that time I was too young, and I was not able to start something. So I could see that, hey, if you have an idea, you could do a lot of things. And then I didn't want the same thing to happen when the AI became the next singularity. It's changing everything. So you could say that we started too early. Even when the AI services were not really ready for prime time, we started the company. We don't regret it. It really helped us prepare the software and prepare the network and all that. So deploying AI services on the platform is our single most important priority. And that's going to be the biggest differentiator. If you think about public housing authorities and this industry in general, think about it. To be a case manager and a good case manager, you are typically coming up, you are a person with a MSW degree, and you didn't actually sign up to read all these documents and do this paperwork. You signed up because you wanted to really talk to people. You really want to intervene in people's lives in meaningful ways and things like that. But what you end up doing is, and what you end up doing, you're actually pushing paper. So
yep.
This is one industry. AI is going to have pluses and minuses everywhere. I'm not saying that it's going to be all positive, but this is going to be one industry where the positives are going to far outweigh the negatives. One reason, because you still have 10-15% of people that you really need to focus on. 8-year-olds, that they can't really interact on the internet at all. You need to talk to them. You can even drive to them and talk to them, because if you have bandwidth to do that. So that kind of reconfiguring of work would happen everywhere. And then I think we don't want housing authorities to be getting the technology as the last ones. Like a real good friend of mine, the chief operating officer in Dallas Housing Authority, David Sapsodi, once explained to me, hey, we get all these technologies, but we get it at the very end. In this cycle, we don't want it to be like that. We want it to be the real bleeding edge of technology. We think we can take it to the housing authorities and the affordable housing market in general. And that would be well received because there is a severe problem in hiring, as you know. It's very difficult to hire. And also, one case manager has 900 clients. So which other industry has it like that? So there is no question of people losing jobs or anything like that. So we would be massively increasing capability, service levels. So application is the moment you decide, 200 vouchers can be issued, software would ask for full application to be submitted. When full application is submitted, evaluate everything and issue the voucher in real time.
That's really impressive, and I want to get more into the work you're doing, but we have to take a break here. Next time on ChangeMakers, Bejoy shares how Bob.ai will scale to impact more housing authorities across the country.
I don't see scaling as a problem because at the moment we don't have any competition. So it's a question of just making everything work and then people would want it.
Thanks for listening to ChangeMakers with Katie Gore. To find out more about Katie, go to quadel.com. That's QUADEL.com. This has been a production of Forbes Books Radio.